Reminds me of Skyward Sword in a lot of ways. Oh, that's interesting, like that robot harvesting. I like the world building, I like it. And Link and his cursed arm's very interesting. It's like Princess Mononoke, and I think it's really interesting how there's a lot of like Studio Ghibli, Hayao Miyazaki vibes throughout Legend of Zelda games, especially Breath of the Wild and now Tears of the Kingdom. And the soundtrack is just spectacular. It's so beautiful. And that nice like transition bridge from the happy peaceful music to that kind of like mutilated, oh, Ganondorf. I heard some things about this trailer, so happy. To like that intense, powerful, sorrowful music. And the mechanics in this game look super interesting. I'm really interested to see how that all works and works out. You can just like jam to this music. It's interesting, it looks like it's being built in the same game engine as Breath of the Wild.
And that legendary sword he carries. Our last line of defense will be Link.
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 Link. Ah, it just looks so epic. I really wish, though, like that they would change the surface world to kind of be like that fall feeling of the... I know they're trying to, but I don't know. I want it to feel like more of its own, like new game. Maybe change the shaders or something. I like that minecart. That's super cool. And like the fusing things, like being able to put like the meat on the arrow and stuff. I think that's super interesting.
It's something only I can do.
I'm really interested in seeing like what this story is and how it connects to Breath of the Wild and where it takes place.
You witness a king's revival.
You guys know who that is.
Of his new world.
Ganondorf! Ganondorf!
Okay, let's go!
It's been a while since we've seen him like as himself in a game.
But
so I think that's pretty amazing.
Not alone. Link. You are our final hope.
And I love all the cave drawings. Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. It looks really good. I'm not like super hype. I don't know. It's like, I want to see something like spectacular that wows me. And it's hard.
You must find me.
There it is. Let's dive into this a bit. So one thing that I find super interesting with Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, like I said before, it kind of looks like it's built in the same game engine as Breath of the Wild. And a lot of people have been worried about it being kind of just like a DLC, especially how it's interesting how they have kind of the Sheikah tablet, which had Link's, all of his abilities were kind of built into that, at least the special abilities were built into that Sheikah tablet. And now it all seems that it's built into his arm. And I was worried they're just gonna kind of do the same thing. So adding in fusing, I think, is super cool. Adding in this whole connection between the ground and the sky, I think is really cool, especially these shots. And how you can go from one to the other seamlessly without a loading screen, I think is done really well. I think that was very smart because loading screens can be like, what's going on? So I think that was done really well. Yeah, this shot right here, as it goes from like the green and black color palette just to straight red and maybe some orange to give you that first introduction to Ganondorf. And you're just like, yeah, it's how they change, how the color harmonies and how it changes from something that you're used to something very intense, almost garish. And it kind of punches you in the face. Like the reveal of Ganondorf later, it's kind of like that, little teaser for that. And that mech suit right there, I think, is really interesting. It reminds me of Spirit Tracks, I think, is the one where Zelda's like in the, I think, yeah. And then now looking at Ganondorf's like return, revival, the kind of him showing up, it shows like the dark energy going through everything, overtaking everything, and then Ganondorf is kind of reborn. And there's been this theory about Ganondorf being more of an ally, and how cool that would be to have kind of like this, people have called it like a rehydrated or like a redeemed Ganondorf. And I think that's a very interesting concept. It reminds me of like Skull Kid, and how you have him who's gone through all of this super intense pain and like the Majora's Mask overtaking him, and then realizing that he was twisted and mutilated, kind of like the Lord of the Rings, but to the point that he kind of lost sight of who he is. And I think that would be really interesting to try that with Ganondorf, especially for how long this battle between Ganondorf and Link has gone on.